21. Start me a card for a parking problem. Foreigner 23. Yes, that's where I'm gonna 28 for my truck when you're ready.
This is a special series we're doing from Matchbox Mark Challenge for a first responders tribute. A little background on this Matchbox Gran Fury. This was one of my, and still is, one of my favorite castings from childhood. I do have one in pretty mint condition in my collection box. And I figured since we're doing a first responders build, what better build to do than bring one of my favorites back from glory. So I found this trash mess on eBay and figured I'd give this a whirl and try to restore it back to its original glory. And it fits right in with the first responders build. So this will be a restoration as far as I can take it. And we'll see where we get. So here we have the G12, as I'm calling it, out of the stripper. Cleaned up very nicely. Actually took some of the rust off of this suspension bar there. I also am going to try to go with the original tires. Hit the ends with the Molotov chrome pen. And I think they're in decent enough shape to go back on the car. What I'm going to work on right now is this glass. I have some 2000 grit sandpaper. Get a little bit of, wear and tear on the lights. The glass is in pretty good condition, but I'm going to go ahead and let's give this a light sand to kind of get those little burrs off. And then we're going to polish it up, and then lastly we're going to give it a dip in the pledge and see what we can come up with. Might have to go with a little 1500 on the lights, although this is pretty much working. As you can see, it's getting most of that white play wear off. I'm gonna try a 1500. Get a little bit more abrasive to get this stuff off. Don't mind the noise from my studio neighbors upstairs. They're banging around up there. I don't know if you can hear it or not, but hard to make videos sometimes when you got noisy neighbors. But what are you gonna do? All right. So this is pretty much good to go. Trying just a little different grits, especially on this side here. This has got a lot of wear on it, but I don't want to give it more wear either, so I think that's about as much as we're going to go on it. I'm going to hit it with some flitz polish. Sorry. Some flits, and then we'll give it a dunk and we'll see what it looks like after. Alright, I'm going to need everybody to cross their fingers on this tape job. This is by far one of the most involved paint jobs that I've done so far. I'm trying to get it all done in one whack, which might be a stupid idea, but what I figured is if I screw it up, I can always strip it, paint it all white, and then just do the decals instead of doing the paint. for the blue and everything else. So I'm going to give it a shot. I got some brand new Tamiya Brilliant Blue paint. Anything that you see white right now will be blue in a matter of minutes. So we'll check back in. Wish me luck. Well, as I expected, did not turn out very well. Peeled off the white paint, peeled off the blue paint. The paint on the hood just like almost came off like tape. I did put a clear coat over the white. I'm not sure if that had a bad reaction. These are both Tamiya paints, but I did have a Tester's clear, so I don't know if that caused an issue there. I mean, regardless, it needs to be stripped anyway. But so we're always quick to show our successes, so I figured I'd show a failure. I'm gonna go ahead and strip it, paint it all white, and then I'm just gonna come up and make the decals, all the blue decals. I already have the police decals done, the dial 911 and the symbol, so I'm just gonna make some blue squares and some blue stripes for the sides. So part 2, we'll see you in a day or so. So what we're doing today is applying some decals to this Gran Fury. I decided instead of trying to paint it all, I would make some decals. So I made all these taking the actual color from screenshots of the actual car itself. So far, so good. Much easier than painting, I'll have to say. I did get some white decal paper in, and so far it's matching perfectly to the Tamiya base color, but I just noticed right here that I got some of the color off. So, no room for that. Luckily I do have another one ready. So far everything's gone well as far as the decals go. My printer isn't the best, so it does have a little bit of white, but I did notice on even the paint on some of these actual factory models were a little, they're not purely blue. And I think once I hit it with the clear coat, that'll help it a little bit. The only thing I have to redo are the dial 911 markers that go here, because I made them too big as always. Even though I measured, I got home last night, I did a bunch of decals, and of course they're still too big. I also have the stripes for the down the side. Those are too wide, but I didn't make them extra wide, so I can cut them. Whether or not I'll be able to cut them perfectly straight, we'll find out. If not, I'll just go home and resize them in Photoshop. The G12 was actually taken from the same color as well. It's actually an orange color. I always thought it was red, but it is orange. It's a little bit bigger than the actual factory one, but again, not too worried about that. It's like millimeters. This should be in a little bit from the side, but not going to be too crazy about this considering the shape that it was previously. So I'm going to get these decals finished, and everything else is, whoops, sorry about that, folks. Everything else is done. I got the base all painted in silver. Again, I chromed the original tires. They probably could be a little nicer, but I did kind of want to just keep them as the original tires because it is a restore, and I felt it kept the character of the car. Plus, police cars aren't always in the best shape. They get abused and used. And I do have the glass looking spectacular. Let's see where I can get in the frame here. I sanded it down, and I did a little plastic polish on it, and then I dipped it in Pledge and let it dry. I also dipped the wheels in Pledge, kind of give them a little bit of shine. This is how the glass turned out. Very happy with that. Sanded it with 1500. And again, it's not perfectly perfect, but again, I'm not really going for that. I usually collect a lot of my old childhood favorites in played with condition. I don't look for the perfect condition. So, in any event, I'm going to get this wrapped up and we'll show you the final reveal. Stick around. And if you remember, this is what we started with. A Matchbox Plymouth Gran Fury police car in a much needed restoration mode. And here's what we came up with. And here it is, folks. The refinished Matchbox Gran Fury first responder build. Wait a minute. That's the original. Let's get the restored one up here. That's better. Here it is, folks. The fully restored Matchbox Gran Fury police vehicle for the first responders build. Have to say, this was one of my big successes as far as doing a full car decal set. Also one of my biggest headaches, most especially the Dial 911 logo and the Rare Police logo for some reason. I don't know why those were so difficult to size, but I did waste a lot of decal paper trying to get those to match. They are still a little bit big, but I'm happy with it. Bottom got a brand new spray of silver. This car, for some reason, has kind of a left side lean that I was not able to get out of the car itself. It does have the original Matchbox wheels. Again, just re-chromed up, and I did want to keep the integrity of the restoration to the original wheels. I'll give you a little side-by-side comparison here to its actual real-life counterpart. You can see the obvious changes here. The smaller G12 with the larger G12. But I think almost everything else is pretty darn spot on for what I got here. Again, it's not a perfect match, but put these side by side in any police lot, and you'd be pretty hard pressed to find the differences to the casual viewer. So I want to give a big shout out to Matchbox Mark for setting up this build. I want to give a big shout out to all of our frontline responders, all of our truck drivers, all of our delivery people, all of our small businesses, all of our nurses, doctors, of course, medical staff, and most especially closest to my heart is the police squads. So I had great fun with this. Check out all the other builders. Doing this, there's way too many to list, but I'll try to get some into the comments below. And until next time, we'll see you again. Be well.